Hello and welcome everybody to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host Ty Christensen, and I'm joined by none other than Jordan Christensen. You cocky cock!
I'm in Lesbians with you.
And we're also joined by a special guest, Cole Davis.
Bread makes you fat? That's all I got.
Yes. Oh, aren't you worried about getting fat? Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. Today we are talking about a very special movie, Edgar Wright's Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. This movie came out in 2010. 2010. Wow, that seems like a forever ago. That's 10 years. Speaking of 10 years, I just watched the entire screenplay. All the cast, they just came out a few months ago, and they just did this whole read through, and I watched that whole thing right before watching this movie a second time. It's so good. So it was directed by Edgar Wright. My man, Edgar Wright. How have we not discussed a film by Edgar Wright on this podcast? And we call ourselves real movie fanatics, and we haven't even talked about Edgar Wright. The writers, we got Michael Bacall and Edgar Wright, and there should be a credit given to the source material, which I should totally know this, Brian Lee O'Malley. He's the one that wrote the original Scott Pilgrim vs. the World comic books, so pretty cool to give a shout out to him because they consulted him. They wanted to make it as true as an adaptation as possible. Stars Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Kieran Culkin, Chris Evans, Brie Larson, so many people, Jason Schwartzman, and who else am I missing? There's plenty others. Aubrey Plaza, can't forget Aubrey Plaza. So anyway, we're going to, Anna Kendrick. I'm all over the place here. Okay, it's late in the night. Here we go. What was it like watching this movie the first time you watched it? What was it like rewatching it for this podcast? Let's start with me. I watched this movie in the theaters. I'm actually one of the 8 people that went and saw this in theaters when it came out. Not because I knew anything about Scott Pilgrim, but because I have a father that's a cinephile, and he's like, what's playing? I think it was between that and, I don't know, the 8th, 10 years ago. What was even in theaters at the time? I don't even know, but Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Well, at times he's a cinephile.
And me and my dad were dying. It was so funny.
At times he's a cinephile, but other times he's enjoying movies like Baywatch.
Yeah, he's got a weird clock. I now know, based on my dad's interest, if he liked it, I generally won't, and if he didn't like it, I generally do. But that's mean because I know it's a hasty generalization because I know there's plenty of movies that we both agree on, but it is weird to think that, like you mentioned Baywatch, I couldn't stomach it, but I feel bad because I like The Rock and I like Zac Efron. I actually think they're great actors, but for some reason and maybe you have to grow up watching all the campy TV show to appreciate that. But anyway, the second time, I just watched this last night, and I absolutely loved this movie. Once more, again, I'm blown away at the cast. I'm blown away at the writing and the edits, visual comedy. This movie's so great. So upon rewatch, this is a movie I've kept near and dear to me. It's one of those you buy in your movie collection, and you push it on to every single person that's never heard of it, and a lot of people haven't. So great movie. Jordan, what was it like watching it the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
First time, I just got home from Argentina and serving a mission for the church. So our brother-in-law, and I just met this guy for the first time because Alex got married while I was away, and so I didn't get to go to that wedding. And so I met him for the first time, and he's like, I want to show you this movie that I think is the greatest movie ever. And I watched it just after not seeing, any movies for 2 years, and then I saw that one. And it was maybe not the movie to introduce me back into film because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so inappropriate. And so not a great first experience. I remember enjoying parts of it, but then once I started to get back into things and I guess desensitize myself and corrupt my mind, I was no longer bothered by anything, and now I absolutely love it. And then I watched it with some of my nerdy friends. I love to show this to my nerdy friends because they just absolutely love it. And then the last time I watched it was with Cameron and Grant, and it was really fun to see it with them. And they really enjoyed it. The humor is great. It's fun, too, because I feel like some of the people I watch it with, absolutely love the intro, and some people I watch it with, the ending more. So it's interesting because it kind of, I mean, the style stays the same throughout. However, the beginning, it's a bit more grounded and it's just kind of quick and interesting cuts. But then all of a sudden, as soon as that first X shows up to fight him, suddenly like all laws of physics and everything just kind of go out the window. So
yeah, it has a very interesting intro to conflict / second act where it's all about a very different story all of a sudden, right?
Yeah, their reactions.
I want to get into
Their reactions are just like the characters in the show. When they first see the X come onto the scene, they're like, "What the f?" Like, yeah.
Oh, it's so great. I love it. So you've seen this movie a few times then. Cole, what was it like watching it the first time and rewatching it for this podcast?
First time, I'm trying to honestly remember the first time, but I believe it was with my brother. He loved it. I think at the first time, I, like now, but more muted, I was very into video games. And so I just loved little nuances or Easter eggs to older games that I was nerding out about. So I loved a movie that is very close to video games, like a Wreck-It Ralph of sorts, but a live action Wreck-It Ralph, but not at all.
That's weird. I've never heard that before, but now that you say that, I totally see
It's like that, but not at all.
But I know it's funny that you drew that comparison because that's what I liked about Wreck-It Ralph, the first one, right? Yeah, it's the video game aspect.
And the first time I watched it, I also loved the soundtrack. I think that is a huge plus to this movie.
Yes.
And Beck does a lot of it, I believe. And I have listened to that music for the last 10 years. We Are Sex Bob-omb.
Yes.
I recall I used to do the sports videos for my high school. So I once did a football highlight reel of We Are Sex Bob-omb. So I've loved this music ever since. Ramona. So, I'll sometimes skip it. I'm like, oh, it's been 10 years. I've heard this song a bunch, but they're classic hits. Watching it this time was equally interesting. I think since 10 years ago, I have grown as an editor and really just paid attention to the graphics in this thing are incredible and very comic booky, and I think that adds to this wonder, like you're saying, Jordan. Well, even in the first half, you see like whoosh or little things like that are comic booky. But then like you got the two dragons and the panda bear, like DJ fight.
Yeti? I don't know what it is. Yeti. He summons the demon, his inner demon. I don't know.
So I loved that this time around.
So awesome. That's so great because, again, you guys mentioned things that are just stand out about this movie. This movie, like, pops. Like, I mean, holy cow. It's one of those few where if you're watching it, I almost think if you casually view it, you're going to miss, like, 8 or 9 jokes because there's 8 or 9 jokes a minute, and it's not from the dialogue. You're going to miss it because it's visual cues, right? I mean, there's jokes that result as a frame backs out. Like, one of my favorite scenes is when they're at the rocket. They're at this like amphitheater or whatever, and everyone's looking at someone, and they have these close-ups, and they zoom out, and that's where the humor comes from. Is Wallace is checking out Anna Kendrick's boyfriend, and he like looks on ahead like almost terrified. I don't know why that makes me laugh so hard every time. Kieran Culkin is like one of the funniest persons in the video. I think he is probably one of my favorite characters. Wallace's character, he is so funny. So we're going to say 2 of our favorite things from this film. And it's hard to say, like you said, Cole, the music is probably one of my favorite things. When I was watching this in high school, I was part of a band that existed for 2 whole minutes. I pretended I could sing because I wanted to be part of a cool group that could join in a band. And when the title crawl opens and the room elongates and the music's coming on, I was just like, I found my movie. I found my people. Like, gritty garage band indie rock. It was just like I was like Knives Chow, like, oh my gosh, I love you, Sex Bob-ombs, because I loved the music. Beck, like you said, did the cover for a lot of these things, and when he actually sent them the openings music, they were like, we love it. And he's like, oh, this is just me goofing around. It's like, that's exactly what this needs to be, and I love it. This is one of the few movies that I actually bought. And I had a soundtrack of Sex Bob-ombs, like the soundtrack, and even Beck doing the covers of Ramona and Sex Bob-omb music. it was like so much fun to listen to because I could like work out to this music. It's like my favorite jams, like you said, and I could actually listen to the music outside of watching the movie, which is really fun. And my second thing, yes, is the visual humor that stems from both the editing and the camera work. Like Edgar Wright knows how to make a visual comic out of, or a visual, makes a visual joke, which is really impressive. It's hard to do because unless you have a very skilled actor, you have to understand where things coming into frame can be funny, things going out of the frame can be really funny, and that's where Edgar Wright excels. Seen any of his other films like Hot Fuzz or Cornetto Trilogy, or movies like Baby Driver, a lot of visual cues that if you're looking at your phone, you're going to miss them. So this movie is a really special thing, and it's a thrill ride to go on. So those are my two favorite things. What about you, Cole? What are two of your favorite things from this film?
Two favorite things about this film?
Yeah.
I think I love how, I mean, I just mentioned it's very comic booky, but it combines the world of gaming and comic books. That's why it's so original. Like I said, Wreck-It Ralph is just video games, but not comic books. And then you have like the old Batmans of like Jim Carrey being the Riddler and like Arnold Schwarzenegger being, I was going to say Frozen. What's his name?
Mr. Freeze.
He's definitely not Frozen. But that's why I think it's so unique. It combines these two worlds. I don't know that anyone else has done it. If so, please send it my way. So that's probably my favorite thing about this movie. And then I love the scene where Chris Evans slides down the rail. And I love the cutting there where Michael Cera just goes, wow. Whoa. Whoa. I think it's hilarious. I just love that scene. That's it. Yeah, I love that scene.
Intercut with intense music as he's doing a grindy thingy down the streets of garbage.
Yeah.
Streets of trash.
And then I think he like explodes or something. It's hilarious.
He dupes him into killing himself, basically by doing a grind down the rail, a park rail. Oh my gosh, that's so great. Yeah, Chris Evans. Dude, he wins it for being in the movie the least, but he steals the show in his scenes, man. It's so great. Jordan, what about you? Two of your favorite things?
Yeah, just kind of going off Cole's, I love the cameos that every actor makes. Like, the fact that Chris Evans was able to just make a small cameo in this movie, are you kidding me? And then every person that shows up, I'm just, like, so incredibly happy. Like, I don't know the name of the actor, but he played as the old Superman in Superman Returns. And he played as the bass guitarist, like, and they have a bass guitar.
No, vegan bass guitarist. It's part of his identity.
Yeah. And then the two guys that show up to take away his vegan powers, like their cameo is amazing.
They're lasers.
De-veganize him. My hair.
I just love he's like cross-eyed and he looks up and right before he kicks him, he's like, "You kicked my boyfriend so hard he burst." There's so many good moments in this movie. And I mean, obviously Edgar Wright's he's just like a master at comedy. And that's kind of already been mentioned, so I won't say too much more other than I absolutely love, and all the time I'm stealing his quick cuts and funny takes and fast pans when he's doing funny. I love putting that stuff into my own work when I'm making videos as well, because it's genius, and making things that wouldn't normally be funny. So I love that. He's a master at the craft.
Oh my gosh, yeah, master of the craft. You've got that right. So, does anyone have any nitpicks about this movie? Things that bother you, or things that you take issue with, maybe plot points or something like that? I was trying to think of some, and I can't really name any specific point of the story other than I always feel bad because when I watch it, for some reason, I love the visuals of the Miyagi twins when he fights them as the last two, or second to last two evil exes that he has to face. For some reason, I love the visual. There's this great scene where this giant dragon comes out and like tears the roof, like a hole in the roof, and Scott flips one way and Steven Stills flips the other way. I love it. I don't know why. It makes no sense. Like he said, like physics go out the window. Once you hit the second act of this movie, it very much shifts from every, like, it's like a reality check, leave it at the door. Like, the physics don't apply. It turns into essentially a superhero movie in a way, because I don't know where Scott learned to fight like this. And see, that's where I almost feel like I'm definitely not an expert to talk about these things, because I don't know his backstory. I know nothing about Scott Pilgrim, but I'm like on his team. I don't know where he's from. By all accounts, he's not a good boyfriend, but I'm still rooting for him. So maybe, like I said, maybe if you read all the source material, and that's what I don't like, is like, okay, maybe if I knew who Scott Pilgrim was, I would have more empathy for him, or like I'd understand where any of this came from. But this still doesn't affect my viewing experience, because I like the movie as a standalone. But I am curious, do you guys know anything about like the comic book series or anything about like lore of Scott Pilgrim? I really don't.
I do know a little bit, because I just wanted to see how similar it was to the show. And I haven't read it all, but I was able to kind of skim through it and then see whenever I found a page that wasn't similar, I would look at it and read a little bit. And so Knives Chow, in the comic book, he actually ends up choosing her at the end. And they actually did that in the movie, but it just didn't play well with audiences. They're like, no, like, have the other girl. And the reason is because he cut out all the earlier scenes from the comic book that he spends a lot more time with Knives Chow. And he actually ends up fighting Knives Chow's dad. And he has like this big samurai sword. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh man.
So it's a very different movie.
I can see that. Yeah, I can totally see that, because again, the way they cut it, it is centered on Ramona and the idea that he's getting this mystery pixie manic dream girl, right? And in the end, it's like he fought the whole movie for it. And the way they cut it, you'd be like, why would he not end up with her? And in the end, it's like, I mean, we don't know anything about her. She's kind of snarky. She's kind of mean, like that's all we really know about her character. And in the end, Knives Chow was there. Like, she liked him. She loves him that he's in this band. She like totally worships him. But in the end, she's like, I'm too cool for you anyway. I'm like, you only knew there was only good music like 2 months ago. Like, according to your own words. So anyway, but she finds this new self-respect, which is awesome. I'm totally for. But yeah, that's the one thing where I almost wonder if I would have enjoyed the movie if they ended up with Knives. But then again, she would have been too cool for him anyway, because the fact that he chased down the wrong girl the whole time, it's like, yeah. Anyway, that's a very interesting. I almost wonder if I would enjoy it more. I'm not the right test audience for this, I guess. They all watched it and they're like, what? He fought 7 evil exes and he doesn't end up with the girl? I'm like, that would have been a perfect ending. Like, why not? That's what heartbreak is. Like, you do all this effort, but you're never going to make someone that doesn't actually like you. Even if you defeat their evil exes, like they're not going to like you anymore. That's just me. Any other nitpicks or things you took issue with? Either Cole or Jordan, doesn't matter.
I think it's probably strategic, but there are definitely some exes that I don't care for. And also I think the ordering can be interesting, and I guess that's maybe a question for the comic books, like maybe that was written that way, that he's introduced to Matthew Patel first, right? But to start with Matthew Patel is very interesting. Like we're talking about, it's pretty structured, and then it's this weird Indian vibe, and you're just kind of like, what? And then you just realize, oh, that's just his thing, which I love. And I wouldn't change Matthew Patel, but I think it's an interesting boyfriend to start with, or ex to start with. Mm-hmm. And then I would also say, sometimes I don't really care for the band. I like the music that they present. I don't know that I really care about the characters in the band. I don't know that I grow to love them. But maybe it's more about Scott and Ramona.
I will say, though, in defense of Mark Webber's character, Steven Stills, the leader of the band, I think he's my favorite. We're going to go pizza, get a slice, call me when you're done. He's like in mortal peril and danger, but everyone's just like, hey, whenever you're done with this, whatever you're dealing with, I love how their reactions are grounded in reality, because they very soon warm up to this whole idea that one of their band members is actually like can fly and fight like unbelievably well. Like it's just really funny. They never address it. Again, maybe from the comic books, he's trained by some martial artist or something. I totally have not done enough preparation, but You're right. Like Matthew Patel, he starts even. This is not necessarily a musical, but Matthew Patel has the weirdest musical number when you introduce his character. It's got hipster demon chicks that are coming out singing. You're just like, what is going on here? Anna Kendrick's reaction was great because it's like it literally mirrors what you're feeling at this point in the movie. You're like, what is going on? What's happening here? It's crazy. Yeah, I almost feel like this sounds so bad because in the end you need to meet Gideon, but I'm like, what if like they had the Miyagi twins fight? Because that almost matches more of like just what I understand. Like, oh, they're great musicians, and you can kind of see like it's kind of surreal, right? Because like these demons come out of their instruments and the music they're playing fights, and it's a great build-up. But again, it's like you said, they're performing, and then out of nowhere this guy comes in ready to fight him. Summon demons, they can fight. Scott inexplicably is able to fight back, but he needs to be summoned, or something inside of him needs to be awoken by his roommate, right? I mean, Wallace yells at him, he's like, fight! And he's like ready to fight all of a sudden, right? And every time he's ready to fight an ex, he has Kieran Culkin's character telling him like, fight, do what you do best, Scott, fight. Like, what? Maybe he's his Miyagi or something. Maybe he's his sensei or his master, but anyway, I just think that's so funny. But that just goes to my pet peeve about this whole thing is like, do I have to read all the source material to understand where this comes from? And in the end, I can suspend my disbelief long enough, but I almost think it would have been nice to address like, where did he learn to fight? Honestly, if it was just like, oh, I play a lot of video games, I would have loved just that, because in the end, I don't know where Scott learned to fight. I don't know where any of that comes from. So that's probably my biggest pet peeve. But Jordan, do you have any other pet peeves from the movie?
No.
Yeah. Okay, so who wins the Oscar? Okay, before we all say Chris Evans, because he is probably one of the best Evil X's, it's so great. There's the scene where it shows him in his video and like on TV or whatever of the movie that he's starring in, and he's like, okay, listen, bucko, the next click you hear, the next two clicks you hear, the next click you hear is me hanging up the phone, and the click after that is me pulling the trigger, which, again, it's kind of a funny action line, like akin to something you hear like Arnold Schwarzenegger. But what's really funny is the idea that if you hear a click with a gun, it means it's empty. So I don't know why I thought that was really funny, but like I feel like that's Edgar Wright, and again, just very funny. Just subtle humor that you'll miss watching this movie. Of course, the joke isn't as funny when you explain it, but Chris Evans is, I think he steals the show for me. I think he's probably the one I would give the Oscar to. Who would you say, Jordan?
I like the last boy, the Evil X. I just think he's hilarious. You made me swallow my gum. Like, I don't know. He just makes me so happy.
Oh, Jason Schwartzman? Yeah. Jason
Yeah.
Schwartzman, Gideon Graves. Yeah. He did play a fun antagonist, even though he only shows up at the very end. I wish there was more of him, actually. But how about you, Cole? Who gets the Oscar?
I'm torn between... I'll just go with Michael Cera. I just honestly... He was chosen for sure because of his experience with Arrested Development. He's this awkward, skinny teen, just... unwell spoken, like me, I guess, right now, and he does so well at it. Scott Pilgrim is not this, but you look at the cartoons of Scott Pilgrim, like, I don't know that I would cast like Michael Cera looking at that, like this skinny kind of scrawny boy, but I think casting him was so smart because he just brings this amazing, he's so real. Like, I feel like we all know a Scott Pilgrim who's just this weird, insecure, and unsure of himself kid who's just trying to find love and has an ex that ruined his life and has regrets. And I just think that he sells it so well. He's hilariously comedic. He's tragic. And his action is so fun to watch because his body is so not what we see in fighting movies. We see Bruce Lee and Brad Pitt and all these big, strong guys fighting, and it's fun to see this scrawny dude kick some butt.
Kick butt he does, with the power of love and the power of self-respect. Mind you, the visual humors that before I forget, it was like confidence. I can't remember all the things, heart, different things. And then like when he earns the power of self-respect, he got +8 points for I don't know why I think that's so funny, but I love that. Again, earn the power of self-respect, you'll conquer all the things. But if you do fight in the name of love, you won't get anywhere in life, I guess. So have some self-respect and decency. I like that argument. I think Michael Cera does a very unique job at making you believe all this, and yet, like would he ever end up with someone like Mary Elizabeth Winstead? Probably not. End up with someone like Brie is it Brie Larson? Probably not. But again, it's really funny because he does have insecurities, right? Like with his hair. I love that whole side plot where every time Scott had his last haircut right before his bad breakup, and so he equates like his bad hair being like this omen that he'll have like bad luck and misfortune in his life. I just love that. That's so funny. And every time they mention his hair, he gets that ridiculous like Sherlock Holmes hat on. I love that. It's so funny. Yeah, okay, I guess we're all torn, but I could see your Michael Cera point of view, and I actually want to push that too, because I don't know what else he's been in that I've truly liked him in. You mentioned Arrested Development. I love that show. I wonder if this is his best performance that he gives, because I actually haven't seen Youth in Revolt, and I have seen Molly's Game, and I don't think he does anything particularly special in that. So I think you're right. This might be his best performance, but one other shout out to Kieran Culkin. I think he was the funniest roommate. Wallace did a lot with what he had. His character was great. So
yeah, I think he does great
worst?
at making. Oh, yeah. I think he does great. Kieran Culkin does great at making you feel uncomfortable. He has dialogue and lines, and he delivers them, and you're not sure. And his sexuality is kind of like, what? Like, what's going on? And there's like always something new in his bed, and I think he delivers it well. But you love him at the same time. So he makes you feel uncomfortable, but he makes you love him at the same time.
Like, even I would think twice about hitting on a 17-year-old. He's like, hey, do you want to know which classmates I have that are gay? He goes, yes. Does he wear glasses? Like, why is that so creepy? But so funny at that point. And then when he's making out with Alyssa Kendrick's or Anna Kendrick, sorry, Anna Kendrick's boyfriend. She's like, well, David, again? Like, this has happened before? Like, what the freak? Why are you dating this guy? I just think that's so great. Okay, so other movies that are like this, I would say, yeah, movies like by Edgar Wright. I would say Baby Driver is probably the most similar that I've seen to that. It's a little more serious, a little more grounded. But even then, it has like things that visually that are happening and going on that aren't necessarily reality, but it's like, I appreciate that. This is a film. Like, please entertain me. Don't make it about everyday boring life. Unless your movie is about something that I'm interested in or has compelling characters. But I love the fact that, yeah, he puts me into a comic book world and everyone kind of adheres to this comic book reality. Like, they address the fact that vegan academy is a real thing and you can have vegan power, or like you have telekinetic powers if you're a vegan, right? Which is really funny because in the end, there are other characters that do pretty similar things, like fly and kick and fight, like unbelievably well, and don't have vegan powers. So anyway, gosh, this movie is so funny. There's so much to unpack here. Any other movies that you thought of? I love how you mentioned Wreck-It Ralph earlier. That does have a call to Wreck-It Ralph for sure.
I'd say all of Edgar Wright's films have a very similar feel to them. So if you like any of his other movies, I recommend this one, obviously.
For sure.
And I can't wait for his new film, Soho. Oh my gosh. It's going to have the girl from The Witch and Split. He's going to make a horror movie. Yeah.
I'm excited for this, yes. If you get like a style, if he keeps up with the style, I'd be very interested to see him being, because he uses humor so well with his editing and his cuts and his staging. I wonder if he could do like scary
the best
with editing, right?
I feel like the best type
really
of horror movies, Ty, are the ones where they kind of balance humor and horror, like Get Out, like has that perfect balance, and it's one of the best horror movies. So I don't know.
I really like that.
That one's more thriller than horror. I don't know. Maybe it's all out horror. I don't know.
One movie I'll like in this too, just seeing it now, and obviously this has come later, is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Because I think of the colors and the graphics and stuff. I mean, that last scene where the portal is open and everyone's going back to their dimensions, super colorful, this world. And I think that's kind of a lot of the graphics that are like the guitars playing, like little lightning bolts shooting out of those. And there's just kind of like the graphics are similar, and the coloring.
Right.
a lot of the time. Like the very highlighter blue pixel sword that, what's his name?
Jason Schwartzman or Gideon Graves.
Yes,
right?
Gideon. Thank you. I
Yeah,
was trying to find it.
Yeah. G-Man.
That G-Man uses. Like, it's just, and I guess also in that I guess comic book world, right? So Into the Spider-Verse definitely fits that, and the colors with it.
Yeah, it's like an 8-bit graphics, right? It's like pixelated, and that's really cool to see and almost out of place. But everything you've seen in this movie, it's not the weirdest thing in the movie. Yeah, I like that. So, what is this movie trying to convey? Now, I actually had a question about this because, again, he fights this whole time to get this girl, and he has to fight the evil exes, but he does it in the name of love, and his sword breaks from Gideon because is the idea that if he's fighting for her affection, it's not going to work. But in the end, she's being mind-controlled with a chip that's planted in the back of her head. So are we to understand that because he was fighting for love or that he thinks he loves this girl, that it's not enough to sustain him and Jason Schwartzman wins? See, I don't understand what the meaning is, but it made me laugh because he earns the power of self-respect, and it's a sword that he's able to best Gideon in a fight. So I don't know what that means. Is there like a deeper meaning that I'm not understanding here? Like, it's better to have self-respect than to have love, I guess. No self-respecting person doesn't have, or self-respect first comes before love. I don't know. Do you guys get any? Maybe that's not even the message of the movie. It's just for a visual gag. I don't know. I'm so confused about this.
I'll say, hey, you got to find a meaning for it. I will say that what I get from this, and what is maybe relatable to my own love life, is focus on the relationship you have at hand. Everybody's got an ex. Everybody has baggage or past relationships that make them who they are, that person that you're dating. So focus on what you have, because Scott couldn't focus on what he had with Ramona and had to focus on her past, and she had to focus and revisit her past. They couldn't end up in the end. Their relationship suffered. So focus on what you currently have. And when I have someone, I don't, but when I have someone, I'll focus on that person. Great. I'm really glad I could.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, leave your personal life out of this, Cole. Okay? No, you're right. Like, I actually think that's actually really good because, again, Knives is so consumed by losing Scott that she ends up, like, dating young Neil, which, again, funniest scene in the movie for me, or the best quote of a line is after she is talking to... She's like, I've kissed the lips that have kissed you. She's talking about the Clash of the Demon Head singer. and then her boyfriend gets up, vegan kid, punches her in the face. And he's like, what? I'm not afraid to hit a girl. And then young Neil runs to her side and goes, he punched the highlights out of her hair. He punched the highlights out of her hair. Like, why is... Best line of the movie, in my opinion. So funny.
Well, I like when he's...
Focus on the one that you have. I like that, Cole.
Yeah, well, actually, that kind of goes into really quick. We got an email in our mailbag, and he asked. He says it would be cool if you guys asked this question: what would you do if you were in the main character's place for one of the scenes? So I don't know. I just thought Cole kind of, I've already talked about how it relates to his own life, and I don't know. I've dated a girl that would change her hair color all the time, and that was a very interesting experience. So,
but you dug it.
She was fickle.
She
She's fickle and indecisive. Did it make you worried?
You're worried I'm gonna give up the place. Yeah, it's
I love that line. I can't believe you're worried about me ganging up the place. Oh my gosh, that's so great.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's all I got.
Interesting. Yeah, I just think that's interesting because he does. You think he does this out of affection for Ramona, right? He's like going to win her back. But I like that, Cole. Again, focusing on your relationship because you're having past experiences, but it is those experiences that made you who you are. So, yeah,
and I
actually think I like it more now, thinking that he should end up with Chow or Knives Chow. I think he should have ended up with her now because you say that because he was chasing after this.
I'd say that's the second lesson is focus on the relationship you have, because we can always look elsewhere, or like, oh dang, like we want what we can't have, and so he focuses so much on Ramona when he had someone awesome like
Oh,
Knives.
interesting.
So it's
I
like,
love that.
no, be happy with who you have, because I think we all do that. We're with someone who makes us happy, someone who we are ourselves with, and the relationship is great, but we're like, oh well, is this the best there is? Like,
No, oh.
anything else out there? It's like, no, just be happy with what you have, you selfish SOB.
Oh, I know. Okay, so, oh shoot. Well, I won't. I'll relate it, because I was going to relate it to real life, but maybe some people will be listening. So I'll just talk about the Arrested Development, when his wife's like totally into him as soon as he's like not interested, and then when he starts showing interest, she's like, oh, I'm not interested in you anymore. Tobias Fungate and his wife.
Oh my gosh, that's right. I forgot about that whole plot. Because he's like, somehow he ended up with her, right? And oh my gosh, that's so funny.
But everybody does that. I mean, Cole, you nailed it. Like, I have so many friends that, like, as soon as they have a girlfriend, they're like, oh, and they're thinking about other girls, and then but they tried so hard to get that other girl, but then when they finally had him, it's like, oh, now they're interested in some other girl. It's just so, it's just crazy. I don't know.
I love it.
Dang,
That's
Jordan,
so
I'm sorry I
funny.
brought that up. You okay, dude? Like,
Oh, I
have a friend who struggles with this.
No. It's just,
My friend is dying
funny
of
'cause-
testicular cancer.
oh, jeez.
Oh, I love it. No, it's okay, Jordan. You can open up. Cole's already done it. Maybe it'll feel good to get it off your chest. Oh, that's too funny. Like, well, they might be listening to the podcast, because I was going to throw my ex under the bus and be like, yeah, see, you were just like that ex. You ruined my life. Oh, man. Okay. So, quotes. Oh, my gosh, this movie has so many quotes. Please quote this movie. If you guys think of them, shout them out. The bread makes you fat was one that I loved.
the bread makes you fat. That's just a winner. It was also honestly
that
probably
definitely
at the
steals the show.
time.
I
Yeah,
love,
I'm like 15. I don't know about dieting, and I hear that line. I'm like, wait, bread does make you fat. So it's a good quote, and also it was educational to me at the time.
Oh, that's seriously what I think
Oh
of
my
every time I grab a loaf of bread. That's hilarious. That's funny you say that.
bread makes you fit. Yeah, it is like, it's a quote that's transcended the movie for sure. Like, where did that come from, right? I like when Knife sits down when you first meet the band, and she sits down next to young Neil, and she's like, what do you play? Like, asking for an instrument. He goes, wow, Zelda, Tetris. That's kind of a big question. I don't know, I love that. He doesn't play any music, but in the end, he ends up being the bassist for Scott, but I like that. It's a great line. And
I love...
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
We are Sex Bomb, and we are here to make you think about death and get sad and stuff.
We are Sex Bomb, and we're here to sell out and make tons of money or something. Yeah, she changes it to the mood. I love that. There's another visual gag where in his mind he has like a list of phrases that he uses when he's in, it's like a roulette wheel, and he spins it, and it lands right between I have to go pee and who, her, because someone asked him, like, who's that girl? And it lands right in the middle, and he goes, I gotta go on her. Like,
yeah,
it's funny because, again, you know what's going on in his mind, and we do this all the time, right? We say a phrase. I do it all the time on the podcast. I start saying something, and then I switch, and then you say the thing in the middle. Take luck. It's very awkward.
Yeah, Brian Regan.
Right, yeah. Another subtle one is when Knives Chow is talking to Scott, and he's like, yeah, so you've dated a lot of guys? And she's like, no, I've never even kissed a guy before. And he walks up to her, and he's like, hey, me neither. I think that's so funny. Oh, I love that. It's so great. And then, Jordan, you mentioned lesbians. I love that. He goes, if you think of something bad, you have to fight for it. Step up your game, Scott. Break out the L word. Lesbian? The other L word. Lesbians. I love it.
You gotta love when he's asked, what are you doing? Getting a life.
That's what, yeah,
It clicks. It clicks. Like, oh yes, there's that aspect of video games. They're bringing that into this world.
Yeah. And then come full circle at the very end when he sees her outside of the Chaos Theater. He tells her, Ramona, I'm in Lesbians with you. And I really, really mean it. And she's like, what? She has no idea what he's saying. And then after they run into Gideon and after they drive away, his band leaves him and he's like, I said lesbians. It's so great. Again, a joke that runs for like 7 minutes long. So funny. The puns they use, like it reminds me of Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Like, let off some steam, Bennett, right? As like he throws a pipe through his chest and there's like steam coming out of him. He says like, you were once a vegan, but now you will be gone. He's like, vegan? doesn't get his play on words, which is vegan. Right before he dies, that's his last word, vegan. It's so funny. That's a great one. And real quick. So as a quote, I remember one of my favorite things about this movie was when he just like the initial call to action is so funny and well done. When Scott orders a package, he gets an email about explaining that if he's to date Ramona, he's going to have to fight the League of Seven Evil X's. Like, it's actually the call to action. And the character's like, this is, and the music builds, and he's like, boring, delete. And he deletes the email explaining the whole plot of the movie, essentially, or like what he's going to have to overcome. And I love that. And that's why when Matthew Patel shows up, you're just as confused as he is, because he's like, didn't you get my email explaining the situation? And he's like, I skimmed it. Like, so you're kept in the dark because your protagonist is such a guy that just doesn't even read the email. I love that.
Every person I watch this movie with laughs hysterically at the part where he's like, is he home? And then he jumps out the window. Like, I don't know.
Yes, that is another great visual. So funny.
He's
Is Scott
out.
here? No, he's out. Dives out the window. Oh, that's great. And Jordan, you mentioned the vegan police. That whole scene. Freeze! Vegan police! Vegan police! Like, he's like, taunting group, you're under arrest for a veganity violation, code number 872. Like,
No vegan diet, no vegan powers.
Embling half an up. That's bull roar. I love it. And he whips out the notepad and he's like, wait, don't I get like 3 strikes or something? And then they like refer to 2 other times where he consumed gelato and then where he had like a chicken parmesan, which is funny because I think there's a quick moment where he looks to Brie Larson and she's like, oh, like, I'm pretty sure there was a story where he said he didn't eat her meal like from the fridge or something. And that's why she got upset, because they literally just proved that he ate it. I don't know. I thought that was really funny. And then at the end, yeah, he's like, chicken isn't vegan? Why is that so good? Chicken isn't vegan. Oh my gosh. And then one other one. When Scott asks David Wallace, when he's like, Amazon.ca, what's the website for that? Amazon.ca. I don't know. I think that's so funny.
David Wallace, that's funny. Isn't that the CEO from Dunder Mifflin?
Yeah.
David Wallace, right?
Yes, that is. Oh, that's great. And then again, Todd's character. I love Todd. He's just like, tell it to the cleaning lady on Monday. It's like, what? Because you'll be dust by Monday. Because you'll be pulverized in 2 seconds. It's like, the cleaning lady, she cleans up. She dusts. Like, this whole, like, and then you're like, wait, so what happens right now? And he's like, well, it's Friday now. So it's just the weekend's off. Monday, right? Like, this is so good. And then Envy stuff says, like, basically you can't win the fight, so you better give up on this girl because Todd's going to kill you. And he goes, you used to be so nice. Like, it's so funny. I love that. And then, and that bass battle they have, again, really cool with the using of the music when fighting. It does feel very much like a video game. It's like if you score a higher score playing this song, you're going to somehow beat this guy. That's so great. And then I can't forget to mention, I know I'm going off so many quotes, but another one from
you're killing
Scott. I just love this movie. Like I said, to me, it's definitely the quotes. This is great. And then, like, you're incorrigible. Envy Adams tells her boyfriend, Todd, and he's just like, I don't know the meaning of the word. And then the little text shows up. He really doesn't. Oh, it's so great. There's so many. I can't think of any other ones right now, but one last one. The Scott Pilgrim. So you're saying is that we're dating? He's talking to Ramona on the bus, and she's like, I guess, you're going to have to fight my 7 evil exes if you want to. He's like, so I have to defeat your 7 evil ex-boyfriends if we want to continue dating. She's like, I guess. And goes, does that mean we can make out? Sure. Like, that's the only thing he got out of everything she told him. Like, oh, we're dating now, right? Like, I love that. That's so funny. Anything else that you guys wanted to add about the movie? Any last thoughts that you wanted to throw out there? I just got to say, the editing, the music, the everything about this movie is just such a delight. Watch it. It's a
The
roller coaster
performance
ride.
is so
much
good.
fun. And if your parents tell you to turn down that racket, yeah, if your parents tell you to turn down
Turn
that
it
racket,
up.
turn it up.
Turn that up.
We're on the same wavelength. I love it. Oh, I just remembered the last quote, though. It's just every time they ask the lead singer of the band, he's like, for the band? For the band? For the band? He says it like 4 times. And then he also says, a gig is a gig is a gig is a gig. Like, he has all these sayings that are like, hey, man, put the music first. Like, our needs are separate, you know, like, focus on the music and the band. I love that. I think that's so funny. We all have a friend like that. Okay, so it's like that band. Real quick, everything in this movie, one last thing to gush about is everything in this movie has a callback, and that's something Edgar Wright's so great at doing. I feel like he writes his scripts like a hairpin or something, because every single line of dialogue is almost repeated twice, and there's always a different meaning the second time, and it makes it that much more funny. He does it in Hot Fuzz, he does it in Shaun of the Dead, at World's End. He does it in all of his films. Baby Driver. Scott Pilgrim is no exception. He has lines of dialogue that mean one thing, and at the end of the movie, it means something else completely different. I love that. Like, even the very continue, when he's staring off at the continue at the end of the film, or when he's playing it's like the Dance Dance Revolution game. I don't know what that is, but they're like ninjas and they're fighting, and they play it 3 times. They play it twice in the game, but at the very end, it comes back when they're actually fighting Gideon. He and Knives actually work together to defeat Gideon. I really like that because the texts come up good, like they're doing combos and stuff. I love that. Like, again, the actual video game coming back at the end and their real life application. Again, maybe that's where I got my answer. My biggest gripe was I don't know where Scott Pilgrim learned to fight. It's from playing that crazy ninja fighting style game. Yeah, just if you play Dance Dance Revolution or that ninja game. I didn't even know if that really existed. I love that. That'd be so cool to play that. But yeah, holy cow, kudos to him and Knives playing at the arcade where they actually rolled over each other doing this amazing choreographed scene. I'm like, that's awesome. Never seen someone playing Dance Dance Revolution pull that off, you know. Usually the people I see are really big, overweight, and they're sitting on a chair and they're just tapping their feet. They're not even standing and doing. It's like supposed to get you like basic minimal exercise. You got these overweight people with like soda in one hand. They're like tapping their feet.
Bro, where are you seeing these people? Where do you spend your nights?
My nights. It reminds me of like when the Wii came out. They're like, how do we get kids more interactive? It's like, oh, good. Like we can get them to actively pretend they're playing these sports in their room, and then like eventually in the living room, and then like eventually kids figured out that it's just like a little flick of the wrist, you can play all the Wii games. It's like, so you just sit there, you're like flick your wrist, you're like, you can do it from your chair, and it's like, oh, so you can play tennis from the comfort of your couch is essentially what I'm getting at, right? Like Wii Sports is like, hey, you can be like physically fit while you play this game. It's like, yeah, you can also sit in your chair and just tremble your hand, man. Oh my gosh. Anyway, woo. All right. Would you recommend this movie? I would recommend this movie. I recommend Scott Pilgrim. I think this is a great movie. I think not enough people have seen it, and that's the fun thing. This is one of those movies where you can show your friends. Not everyone has seen it in a room. Go to any one room. Not enough people have seen this film, and it's so funny. There's something to enjoy for everybody. But it isn't one of those you can look away very often. Like, I guess I would argue it looks appealing. It's visually looking cool, but you have to be engaged with the movie because if you don't, you miss so many great jokes. Like Scott Pilgrim walking into the bathroom and peeing for like a quarter of a second. I mean, it's very quick. The pee bar goes all the way down. He goes out and like rinses his hand for half a second, then wipes his hands on his shirt, on the towel on the door, and like, oh, who washes their hands like that? Maybe I'm paying attention to those things during this time more than anything, but I definitely recommend this movie. Jordan.
Most definitely, especially if you're into video games at all. Like, you should most definitely watch this movie. That's the first people I always, if my video game nerd friends, I always ask them, oh, have you seen Scott Pilgrim? And if they haven't, then that's one of the first movies we watched together. Just because it's, for anybody that loves video games, it has so, like Cole said at the beginning, just so many golden nuggets. And even my roommate's like, he's playing Zelda? Like, because he caught that sound from on his Game Boy or whatever. It's just, there's so many little tiny things throughout. The ways they fight is just from all the different games you played throughout your life, if you play a ton of games like we have. So, and even if you don't like video games, it's just a very visual, fun film, and it's very funny. So,
I like that. Cole,
Yes, 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 and a yes. I'm recalling this movie does an excellent job of just all details are done to the max and in a unique way that you haven't seen before. I'm thinking of the opening credits, right? I think opening credits are so fascinating in how boring they can be. Why are they there? Why do some films choose to have opening credits? So many things about opening credits really fascinate me. It can be 3 minutes of establishing shots sometimes in some movies with a little screenplay by name here. And this movie, it does it to We Are Sex Bomb, and it's just this loud bass song. You see Scott dancing, I quote dancing, but playing the bass in this weird way. You're like, what am I about to watch? But you're just energized or prepping to be energized for the next 2 hours. So you're hooked right from the get-go. And the credits, graphics, story, the fact that it doesn't end the way that you would think or a happy ending, I think is also really original. It's kind of like a La La Land. They don't, spoiler alert, they don't end up together. But that's sad, and it's more real life. So I think, yes. It's
good. I like that. No, excellent. Well, it's a high recommendation from us, so go out and go see the movie if you haven't already. We've already spoiled everything good about this film if you're listening to this podcast. Last thing I wanted to say is actually just a personal experience. So I really liked one of the Roxy, which is like the 4th or 5th Evil X. She had a sexy face when she meets him, and she says like, "Oh, I'd love to postpone, darling, but I just cashed in my last rain check." And he's like, "Where's that from?" My brain. What made me laugh about that is like me and Jordan growing up, we would be sitting at the dinner table and my dad would be like, "No quoting movies." So like it was like we would quote movies to an extent where my dad had to outlaw it because it was all we did. And so we're sitting at the dinner table and then we'd say a joke and someone would laugh and my dad would be like, "What's that from?" And I'd be like, it's I made it up. Like not everything I quote is from a movie, Dad. I could be original. I can have my own thoughts too, Dad. Like I don't know why I thought it was so funny, but that's what it made me think of. Like sometimes when something seems really clever, you're like, "Oh, is he quoting something?" I love that because we're all guilty of that.
Is this just for you to toot your own horn that you're just so funny and everyone thinks you're a comedian?
That's right.
You're
That's
like, "I'm
right.
so funny, dude. Like I'll even say something of my own. They think it's someone else, but I'm so funny."
And it's like, "Oh, I made it up." Nothing's original anymore, though. Now I realize, like, you know what? Who cares? Took it from a sitcom 20 years ago. If no one gets the reference, you made it up, in my opinion. But just don't get caught. Not advocating plagiarism out there, anyone? Okay. Let's do this. We got some video. I always call them video games. They're video podcast games. We're going to play. It's called Build a Perfect Movie. I think you remember this one, Cole. Take 2 Rotten Tomatoes scores for movies, and you try to build a perfect movie. So I don't know what the category we should do. Like action film? I don't know. Action film from the 80s. I don't know any action films from the 80s.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Just action films in general. So why don't you start us off, Jordan? Have any action films?
Lethal Weapon 4.
Oh, dang.
Lethal Weapon 4. I think by the time you hit Lethal Weapon 4, they have to start naming it something, right? Well, I know it's Lethal Weapon 4, but I'm saying like if that movie came out today, it'd be like Lethal Weapon, Resurgence, Cops on Parole or something. Lethal Weapon.
So, okay. I'm trying to add these two together. So I kind of want a 50-50, right? That's kind of the strategy here.
Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I'm going to give, let's see.
Oh, Dodgeball. Oh, sorry, wrong game. Okay, keep going.
Oh my gosh, you got the quote! I can't believe you knew the quote. Yeah, that's so
No,
funny.
I knew the quote at the
Like,
beginning.
where
I just
quote
I was
outside of the game.
Okay, I did not like this movie. I really should check Rotten Tomatoes for it or know that. But I think it was not critically acclaimed, but praised. Let's go with Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that was.
Wonder Woman.
I feel that will be a higher rating, but I don't agree.
No, me neither. It's no different than all the other superhero movies, but
No. But DC sucks, so it's worse than the other superhero, and those aren't already great.
Wait, did you see the trailer though for Batman? What did you think about that?
Oh, the new Robert Pattinson one.
It's
Yeah, I'm curious what you think.
I'm interested to see where it goes, because you have the old, like I was saying, Jim Carrey era of Batman was very bright, colorful, comic booky, one-liner zingers, and then you had Christopher Nolan's route, dark. This seems to be playing on the Christopher Nolan foundation, and I don't know that I like that. We want something new. So I'm interested. I hope it's fresh.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't know. I'm
But
like,
disagree.
'cause
You're
I
wrong.
can
Get
watch-
off the
I can
podcast.
yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, you just won't come back on. It's okay.
But I don't know. Yes, Christopher Nolan crushed it. Dark Knight the second one is one of the best movies of all time, but it doesn't mean that it has to stick in that realm. It's been done. Let's try something fresh.
Right. I hear what you're saying, but see, to me, I would much rather spend 8 more films in the broody Batman as opposed to even one film of campy. That's my.
But they have already done that. Isn't that what all these other DC movies are?
Right. I mean, yeah, you could say that's a fresh direction and that just sucks. So yeah, maybe go back to what was working. But I will say, I haven't played much of it, but like the Xbox games of like Arkham Asylum and stuff are like super dark, and like there are some even Batman cartoons that are like very gory, or just like Batman has a freaking blade in his eye or something, right? Or Batman, Joker, and like very into mental illness and all, like even Joker, like we just saw with Joaquin. So if it goes like super dark, like makes you feel uneasy, I'm down with it. I'm a very tortured soul. I'm not well.
we've
This
already
is
seen
me
the dark,
crying out for
but if
help
you-
on this podcast.
I like your argument. It's like, oh, we've already seen it dark, but if you go there, if you really
If
go
you
there,
like,
and there's
really
like
twist the
children
knife.
cannibalism. Blades
No, I like it.
bulging
All
out
or
of your
nothing.
Eyeballs.
I like that.
Sign me up. Man.
Give me some
That's-
of that.
Yeah, all or nothing, Cole. I love it. No, because you're right though. Like there is plenty of content out there with like the very dark Batman. Like they've even done it with the animated series. I remember watching. There's like a R-rated or at least a PG-13 version of it, and it's just like, it's a mob crime boss story. It's not even Batman. Like Batman's in there for like a few minutes. It's literally just like, I can't remember which version it was.
The Killing Joke?
Like,
What are we talking about?
it wasn't the Killing Joke. I actually know that one. It was one with Robin and. He's like this mysterious figure who's like a vigilante.
Anyways,
as
what's our
well.
scores?
But he is willing to kill people. It's intense, and it's got Clayface. Whoo! Okay, yeah, we went on a tangent there. My fault. So I did
I think it was
Cold Light of
Jordan's
Day.
fault.
Yeah, it was Jordan bringing up Batman. Jordan, thanks. So I did Cold Light of Day, which is a wonderful little film starring Henry Cavill, Jordan's favorite Superman, Henry Cavill. Which, and I quote, the next Star Wars film might have to see a script first,
Oh, really?
Bless his heart. In his defense, he wasn't wrong, because I think he was referring to the next Star Wars film from Rian Johnson. So, dodged a bullet there. Okay. Cold Light of Day, starring Bruce Willis and Henry Cavill, man. That's the action film. Great scene where he leaps off of a rooftop and he has a cord tied around his waist, and it like dead weights him, and it made me laugh so hard. This is supposed to be a serious action film, and it's so funny. Starring Bruce Willis, of course it's funny. So I got Cold Light of Day. Cole, you've got Wonder Woman, 93%.
Correct.
Holy cow.
Shoot. That is a joke, dude. That was
Dude,
the
it's
most
called-
painful movie I've sat through in
Yes,
a movie
I fell
theater.
asleep.
Honestly. I was
Dude,
hopeful.
it's called Women Empowerment, man.
I mean, yes, I agree with that. Oh gosh, wow. I was all for it, but like, you need a good script. Like, I'm all for woman empowerment. Make it good. Like, I'm all for a female director and a female lead, heroine. Awesome, but it was horrible. Wow.
I said the word heroin.
Dude, I'm a troubled soul. Let's go.
Yeah. No, I'm just gonna say the quiet part out loud. Yeah. Cole looks like a drug user. Okay, Jordan, you used Lethal Weapon 4. 53%. You're right up the middle, Jordan. Right up the middle. Ty, I did Cold Light of Day. 4%. Oh, I'm surprised at that one. I mean, it doesn't obey the law of physics, but I think it would get 4%. That's really bad. It's a movie that I torture my wife with. I'll start a movie, kind of like the joke where Paul Rudd gets on the Conan O'Brien show and shows that same 4 minutes from Mac and Me where the kid goes down the cliff on the wheelchair. I'll start a movie for my wife and then I'll show her the same 1 minute scene and I just keep watching it. So funny. Okay, another action film. I've got the most to make up, so I'm going to do my favorite, Mad Max Fury Road. Have we done that one on this yet, on the podcast?
Ooh.
Mad Max Fury Road. That did good. Did you care for that one at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How can you not care for that beauty? Wow. Charlize Theron.
Okay.
Ooh, baby.
Furiosa.
What?
Oh, that's a great movie. Remember me? All right. Jordan, you're next.
Oh,
Action film.
Lethal Weapon might make me bust, but I'll try it. Lethal Weapon 3.
So 4 and 3. Nice. Lethal. Yeah, Jordan, I don't know, because if you think
I'm
about
banking
it,
on the third one
I
being
think
bad.
you're gonna
All right.
bust. Okay. Lethal Weapon 3.
Which they're
This
all
is the first time they introduced Joe
they're all
Pesci,
great.
right?
So I don't know.
3. All right, Cole, what's your last pick?
Bad Boys for Life.
Dude, you
Bad
were gonna
Boys for
bust by
Life.
like 200%.
So, dude, I saw the first Bad Boys. If you've ever seen it, bad. Very
The
bad.
first one, I love the first one,
What?
Bad Boys.
When was the
I'm
last
actually
time you
surprised
watched that?
and the last one I cried in. It's good.
Dang. Okay. Well,
Jordan has this thing where he goes off
okay.
how many times he cried in the movie.
yeah. What else do you cry in? Because I now feel you have a very
we
low
talked about this,
tolerance.
We talked about this a few podcasts ago where we talked about Jordan's are crying where appropriate and he's not crying where not appropriate. So that's a good thing. At least that's what
Hey,
his
dude,
roommate
but hey,
claims. But
don't
we
let
know.
us shame you. If you're feeling Martin Lawrence and Will Smith just having a moment, then freaking
They
let
do
it
have a
out.
moment. They have
Like,
many moments in that movie.
No shame.
They have many moments. Oh, that's so funny. I actually still haven't seen it. I should see that one. All right, so we've got Jordan with Lethal Weapon 1. No, you did. Sorry, Lethal Weapon 4 had 53%. Lethal Weapon 3,
Dang
60%.
it.
You bust, Jordan. 113%.
Boo.
You bust. You went over. All right. I did Cold Light of Day, 4%. Mad Max Fury Road, 97%. Holy cow. The critics loved it just as much as I did. 97%? That's like a darn near perfect movie. Holy cow. I bust. I bust by 101%. Makes me so mad. Cole, you did Wonder Woman, 93%. Bad Boys for Life,
Yeah.
77%.
Holy, okay, this is a greater topic. This is
180.
why I don't believe and don't look at Rotten Tomatoes, honestly, because those are, Wonder Woman is, I was thinking Wonder Woman would be 70, 60, sure. Wow, that's not a right rating for that. Or Bad Boys for Life. What was Bad Boys?
Well,
70?
hang on, Cole. Hang on. The audience score gave it 96%. So you're one of 4% that I guess didn't care for Bad Boys. Or wait, did you see the
Jordan
Bad Boys
is
for
in
Life?
that 96.
Cole, did you ever see the? Because you mentioned Bad Boys 1. Did you see Bad Boys for Life, or was it just a movie that came to mind when you mentioned action?
It came to
film?
mind because Bad Boys 1 was so
Oh my
bad.
gosh. You
That's
didn't
so
like
funny.
when
Now,
he...
do you think it's because it's dated?
Yeah, you
Or-
didn't-
Yeah, I'm
I
curious.
think it's
Oh.
outdated. I think for sure. movies have just come along better. Acting has come along a long way.
You didn't think it was funny when
And so-
his partner is pretending to be Will Smith and the girl's like, why do you got all these pictures of Will Smith on your wall? Like, I think that's so funny.
It was just too much. Like, it wasn't real. It was too much of a gag when I watched it. And Martin Lawrence is very expressive, and I was just like, it was too much. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I'll be honest,
Jordan. Can we be friends, bro? It's nothing
I
personal.
just, you like super
Cole,
goofy,
listen,
funny
I'm
stuff,
the
so I'm
same
just
way.
surprised.
So Cole, this might surprise you because I don't know how you feel about this. He might be like an inspiration to you. I think Michael Myers is not funny at all. I feel bad saying this. I think his best performance was Shrek. Every time I watch Austin Powers, I'm like,
We disagree.
okay, this is so annoying. I'm sorry. I know. I get sick of watching it, and I keep sick of hearing it. And I'm like, yeah, baby, do behave. I'm like, why is that funny? It's not funny.
Dude,
it's very
it is
uncomfortable.
funny.
It's very,
No,
and
you're wrong,
I
dude.
love parody. I love parody. I know. See, this is one of those things where I will die on that hill. I turned off So I Married an Axe Murderer.
What?
'Cause
That
I was
movie's
like,
amazing.
That's Mike Myers.
Oh. I disagree.
I could not watch it.
disagree.
And Jordan, I know you quote it all the time. Like, you ever see someone close to an edge, you just want to push them off. And it's like, oh, no. I love that humor, but like, I turned the movie off. I was like, this is just so cringeworthy. I'm sorry. The only thing
You
I
do
found
not love
intolerable
Austin
in
Powers.
is- I do not. I genuinely do not like it. And
Wow.
I've seen all the movies. My favorite
Hey, it's
Austin
been
Powers
great
moment
coming
is the
on
scene
again.
where
I
Will
will
Ferrell-
not be returning to the podcast. That's where I draw the line. I
You know what's so
cannot
sad?
associate
You know
with
what's so
people who
sad?
do not like Austin Powers.
You know,
I'm
it's
sorry.
so sad because I've actually seen clips of like Dr. Evil, and I do like those scenes. So you could argue it, but that's like from Seth Green doing his scene about being like the son of an evil genius. I loved that. Like, that's funny, but like it's almost like watching old Adam Sandler, where I realize I'm like, Adam Sandler's not necessarily the funny one, but
For sure.
like, all the team around him is funny. You know?
Yeah.
So that's what I think he's guilty of. I bless his heart. You know. It's like, for me, I didn't get the Minority Professor either. Like, I mean, there's scenes of it that are funny, but it's like, look, Eddie Murphy's all the members of the family. I'm like, I know. I know he is. Like, is that the joke? Is it funny because he's the... what do I know? Best thing in my defense is when Jack Black made a parody of it, basically with My Fat Family, when he did the opening scene of Tropic Thunder, right? He's like, ew, grandma, ew. It's like all fart jokes. I'm like, yes, I'm not crazy. There's someone else out there that thought like, okay, yes, Eddie Murphy is a funny guy, but that movie was whatever. Woo, I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. So anyway, got that off my chest. Don't think Mike Myers is funny. So there, I said it. Sorry, Cole. You never come back on the pod. Very sorry.
Yep, not wanting to.
Do you hold those Austin Powers? Do you find Austin Powers? Do you enjoy those movies? Like, I'm so
I
sorry
grew
if I
up
crapped
on
them.
those dudes.
We
Those were
didn't, so
good.
maybe that's why Ty
Yes.
doesn't like them.
Maybe.
Yeah, you guys grew
That's
up
so
on
true.
Good
Yeah.
Burger. I mean, yeah. I'll just say that.
Yeah, in your defense, you're right. If you didn't grow up with it, but like, I feel like objectively, I would argue that you're probably right. I think if you took a person off the street, they'd be like, oh, definitely Austin Powers is much funnier than Good Burger. But
For sure.
some reason,
For sure.
anyway. So I totally get the argument. I just watch them and they just don't reach me. I feel so bad. Oh, all right. Because Cole, I'll be honest. When you quote anything or you quote movies, it makes me laugh. Like, I remember once you sang the opening song of Lion King, and while you were on a swing set when we were kids, and that makes me laugh more than all of the movies starring Mike Myers combined. Because you're much more accessible than Mike Myers is to me. Anyway, all right. Glad I got that off my chest. Okay, I've got 5 movie quotes. I'm gonna breeze through them. You guys let me know which movies they're from, okay? Speed round between you and Jordan. Good luck,
It's
Cole.
such a lag, though.
Oh, that's good. To Cole's advantage.
No,
All right, I'm gonna do my
it's
best
both.
impression. Ain't this a geographical oddity? We are 2 weeks from everywhere.
I don't know.
Dang, we're in a tight spot. I'll keep quoting the movie. Didn't you hear that, priest? I've been saved. The good
Oh,
Lord
brother,
washed
where
away
art thou?
all my sins. Nice. You got it. Oh, brother, where art thou? All right, Cole, this one's for you. 10,000 years will give you
Aladdin!
such a crick in the
Oh,
neck.
man.
Yes!
Aladdin!
Nice work.
That's too quick.
Nice
I had
work.
to wait till the creak in the neck.
Delivery was spot on. Thank you, Ty.
Thank you. Did my best.
R.I.P..
Bless that man, Robin Williams. Now, that's a guy that was funny. Love Robin Williams. Okay.
As was Mike Myers. Yep. Continue on. Yep.
Yeah, right. Oh wait, why isn't he in movies anymore? Because people caught on to the fact that he wasn't funny. Love grew. Excuse me. Okay. Here we go. Here's my impression. Ready? What's the most you ever lost in a coin toss?
What's it called? No Country for Old Men.
Oh, boo. Dang it.
I'm going out on a limb here. Give me some credit, okay?
District 9?
Dude, Futurama or what?
District 9, that's right.
Oh, that's it? Oh my god.
I was going to say, you disgusting prawn.
You should have said that.
Yeah, I was going to keep quoting, but I just wanted to start with it, but that's so funny.
Hey,
You
he
guessed
got
District
it,
9,
so
and you guessed
win-win.
Futurama from the 10. That's so funny. I love it. I don't know if I can quote this one now, just because. Okay, anyway. You forget about your friends. You can forget about your family, because I, Kurt, am both your mother and your father.
Oh, well, you can't do that to Cole, because I know that one. It's Good Burger.
Step Brothers? Or, it's freaking what did I just say? Oh my gosh, you guys need help.
I know. That's why I was like, yeah, I shouldn't quote it. Okay. Oh, well, I can't. Well, see, again, I actually had this one written down, and that's why I quoted another line from the movie, but I was just like, nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody.
Dodgeball.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Cole, you did it first. Bam! Nice. I think that's all for quotes I have right now, So, Jordan, you lose. Cole wins. I'm sorry. You have to turn down your title of the number one movie.
Oh my
Cole
gosh.
wins.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I guess I could come
That
back on
was
the podcast.
so
now.
funny.
All right. We are going to end this segment by saying movies that you have seen lately and movies that you were looking forward to seeing.
Okay,
Let's start with
I'm
you,
going.
Cole.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Get On Up. Chadwick Boseman, may he rest in peace, did some awesome work in his last couple years. I heard about Get On Up, where he portrays James Brown. Super enjoyed it. I have now been on a James Brown kick. He was a legend. And I think Chadwick did awesome. He spent 2 months learning the choreography and like how to dance like James Brown. I think he just nailed it. And a lot of people give him praise for Black Panther, rightfully so, but I think that is one that has slipped through the cracks, and his death is bringing that to spotlight, and I'm super glad I saw it.
Oh, fun. Yeah, that would be a good one to see. Do you have any movies you're looking forward to seeing?
Still haven't seen Tenet. The No Time to Die trailer round 2 just dropped for James Bond. Very excited to see that one. Hoping it is better than Spectre. The track record with Daniel Craig's James Bond has been good, bad, bad. So I'm hoping that it's good again.
So by all available accounts, this should be the one. This is the one, man. Back on track. No, you're absolutely right on that assessment. Yeah, I remember Quantum of Solace, no good. And then the one after Skyfall, what was it? Oh, it was this last one. Yeah,
Spectre.
Oh, and believe me, there is not a single person in the world that wanted Christoph Waltz's character villain, like the leader of Spectre, to be everything that I imagined. And it's like, I am the author of your pain, James Bond, and that's it. He delivered the line, and that was it. It's like,
Right.
that was it. Like, I waited the whole movie to hear that, and then he said it, and I was like, I don't feel anything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was so
Kind of flopped.
sad. Oh, so sad. Yeah, that'll be fun. Man, movies are coming back, baby. I hope there's not this big vacuum where, there was like, well, no, there's so much to consume now. They have like movies that they've had on the back burner for like years. So I feel like there's probably not going to really be any shortage of films. But holy cow. I've been watching on Netflix. It's called Dating or Love on the Spectrum or Dating on the Spectrum. Let me see if I can
think
find
it's
it.
Love on.
I think it's Love. And it is the sweetest, even if reality TV, Dating on the Spectrum, I think it's called. Maybe it is Love on the Spectrum. Why I'm like second guessing myself. I put here Dating on the
You
Spectrum.
should second guess Mike Myers.
There's a lot of regrets. No regrets. I regret nothing. Yes, it was the sweetest show I've seen in a long time. Very heartfelt. And it's very endearing. And I think how do I phrase this? I think more people should watch it. It's just as simple as that. If you don't like reality TV, it's just a very sweet story. And it's very heartbreaking at times. So something I knew very little about. So very good. And then on a less serious note, I've been watching The Boys season 2 on Amazon Prime. Holy cow! Second season, holding no punches, going for it, swinging for the fences, and it is landing. It is so funny. It's so hilarious. Just watched the end of episode 3. They're releasing them weekly now. I just can't wait for each episode to come out. But to their credit, it is a good thing that we taper our passions, because
Right.
when I binge watch all of Stranger Things, I now can't identify season 1 through 3
It's over, yeah.
whatsoever. But now it's like, oh, when one episode comes out, I like think about it, and I can't wait for the next episode to come out. It's probably good.
Yeah,
Isn't
I
that
think
weird
there's
that we
I think
have our
there's
streaming
power in
services
that.
curbing
yeah.
our enthusiasm and telling us to curb your passions, you know. Taper your appetites, please. That's so weird. Anyway, and as far as things that I'm looking forward to, and then I did see one other movie called The Lost Husband. It was like a romantic comedy, kind of fun, a fish out of water story of like a city girl dealing with her inner demons, goes out to a farmland, you know, works with a handsome farmhand played by Josh Dumahill or whatever his name is, and wow, that guy is really attractive. So
Oh,
dang. That was a good movie. I'm going to turn it over to Jordan. I have nothing else to recommend.
Okay, I rewatched Unhinged for the second time in the theater with Cameron. That movie, dude, Kurt Russell, angry. There's nothing better. I'm sorry. That was unbelievably good. And then, okay, what else? And then we watched War Dogs, which is really, really good. And then I had Cameron watch Aliens, and he kept falling asleep, and I'm like, okay, we can watch something else if you're not interested in this. And he's like, and then he'd be like, no, I'm fine. I'm awake. And I'm like, all right. And, you know, he finished it, and he was like, it's really good. And he gave it like I think a 5 or a stars or something out of 10. And I'm like, what? Like, that is not, that is not a good rating, and you can't say you like it. Anyways, I love that film. But I've been watching the Hatchet series, which is a slasher flick, and I absolutely love slasher films. So, and then looking forward to 007, so as well.
Get in my belly.
I know, like
Sorry,
you said.
Keep quoting 007. I'm like, hey, Austin Powers.
Get out.
Yeah, you know what?
You
know
don't
what,
have
Cole?
the right.
We'll do So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yeah,
and I won't be
honestly,
there.
get this guy off the air. Never respecting this man's opinion again.
I feel so bad because, oh man, I know. Oh, I should turn in my hat, my badge. If I had one, I would. I just don't know what to do at this point. I watched all of his films. I'm like, I'm gonna love him. I kept saying that, and then after I watched them all,
I do have to say one thing about the new 007, though. I am very mad that they got rid of Danny Boyle directing the film. That makes me furious. And so I'm not going to lie. I don't want this to fail. I hope it does good, but I'm very upset about that because freaking studios can't working with creative directors. It's so infuriating. Just like Edgar Wright not making Ant-Man. Are you serious? Screw Disney. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe in the end we could get a spy film from Danny Boyle, and he'll be like, this is the 007 movie I would have made, and he can start his own thing, you know? Why not? Anything could happen, you know? Oh, like, for example, I just hope, Christopher Nolan has nothing else to prove. I was going to say, I hope Tenet makes back its money, which I've heard it already has, which is pretty remarkable during a pandemic. Yeah,
How is
I
that
know.
even possible? Yeah, because there's
They've
like
already
nobody
made
in the
$20 point
theaters.
something million. I'm like, that's amazing. Like how much it took to make this movie. Unless it cost $200 million,
That's
then I'm going to
crazy.
be completely off.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Because
probably.
didn't you say, Cole, that they're even closed in California?
Yeah, at least San Francisco. At least the cities. Yeah, nothing's open
And
here.
it might not be, yeah, because now that I think about it, it was $200 million.
Yeah,
so
200
maybe
sounds
$20
more
million.
like a movie.
Well, it's crazy.
20
too, because,
million
again,
might have been the
Dunkirk-
plane alone.
Yeah, right. But slow down. Like I realized that Dunkirk was like 150 million. So yeah, he got 200 million for this movie. I thought that was interesting. That it was even more money. Places that he shot it. Oh my gosh, man, it's crazy. I like that though. I just hope it makes enough money. But again, he has nothing to prove, so he'll keep getting work. I just keep thinking like, we don't have enough risk takers. Like you brought up Bad Boys for Life. Like why are we bringing back old IP. It's because they need
Dude,
money. And I get it.
Mulan, nothing's original, man.
Right? Yeah. See.
Did you guys see the new Mulan?
Oh, did you see it?
No music.
Oh,
no
there's
music.
A girl we're fighting for? Not. Oh.
Nah, dude.
I actually
No.
thought they'd make it like really progressive and be like a human being we're fighting for. I don't know. I thought that
Oh.
was funny. So, like,
I mean, maybe that would have even been better. Yeah.
that would have been great, right? All inclusive.
A woman we're fighting for, yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's like, hey, women could be in the military too. Like Mulan proved it, but I thought it'd be really funny if they did like something like that. But in the end, I'm like, they have to. No music. Oh, well. Yeah. Well, there it is.
Yeah, no love interest.
No love
nothing.
interest. What?
Ew.
Oh my gosh, you guys are
Nothing.
spoiling the whole movie
Yeah.
for me.
They got rid of the humor too. There's nothing like no Mushu, funny Mushu.
Just
Like where's Eddie Murphy?
Oh, well, that's too bad. So they took everything that you liked about the original and did away with it. Did away with it.
they sucked all the fun out of it.
Sucked all the fun, and they're like, here's
All
a really bleak
meaning.
story about a girl portraying to be a man.
A girl fights in
an
war.
army. Girl
And it
fights
is
in
not
war.
the status quo for her to do so. That is it.
Oh, but okay. To the credit, were the action sequences fun? Because it looked a lot like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of vibe to it.
Nope.
No. Oh wow. Still got 76 on Rotten Tomatoes. You'd think
Exactly
that I'd wanna go
why
see
I
it now.
don't watch that, buddy.
Why do we even see?
I was looking at. I was checking Austin Powers to make an argument to you. It didn't actually support my argument. It was 70 and then in the 50s for the other two. So I was like, dang it! I can't even use his own weapon against him.
Right. No, but you're right. Like, see, you have the original that's like a hit. Like people, I love satire. I love it. I really do. So I actually think that those movies, like Cole, to your
Dude,
credit,
you
I
don't.
think the funniest
You've
scene,
said your piece. You don't need
Have I?
to. We don't need to talk about it more. It's fine. I'm over
the
it.
funniest.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's
I
wrap
am
this
gonna
up, Ty.
say though that scene where the guy's yelling at him on the steamroller is the
gosh.
funniest thing.
Hilarious.
That's the funniest visual gag. Yeah, that is funny. But I'm like, but he didn't do anything. That was a very funny thing. If he wrote it, good on him. I'm sorry. Okay.
That's actually in an older comedy, Ty. It's called fudge. We're gonna do it on the podcast eventually. A Fish Called Wanda.
Oh,
Anyways,
see, not even
let's
original.
continue.
How about that? Jordan once again proves my theory. Mike Myers, worst comedian of
Oh
all
no,
time.
sorry, Cole. I'm sorry, Cole.
Oh, and Cole just dropped.
don't agree with
Cole
Ty.
Just dropped the
I
call.
don't agree with
He's
Ty.
off the podcast now. No. Cole, are you there? Yeah. So we're gonna end the podcast now before I say something else that gets me into trouble. I still think I know what good humor is. Anyway, okay,
That's
we're
your
done
opinion.
here.
Oh
That's
my
your opinion.
gosh. All right, Ty, wrap this up.
Oh, Cole, I'm sorry. We'll die on this hill.
We are
just real
family,
quick,
but we are
teased-
not the same, gentlemen.
I know. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in to Futro Hidden Movie Gems. Write us an email. If we get your emails, we will respond to them. We'll start applying that question. You know, what would you do in the protagonist's shoes? I like that. What would you do in Scott Pilgrim's
Yeah, and
shoes?
I want to shout out to him. It's Evan Rinkin. Thank
Yeah,
you
Evan,
for
thanks
that
for
email.
the email,
Ev
man.
Dog, thanks,
And,
bro.
Take it easy. Stay safe. And seriously, love the question. When he said shoes, I was thinking of Scott Pilgrim tying his shoes in that funny fight sequence where he's getting ready, and then he intense music's playing when he puts on his little sweatbands, and then the music stops. He has to tie his shoe for a good solid 20 seconds, and then fastens his shoe and gets right back to the action. So we're gonna end. Rank us, write us a review, whatever. Write us a review. Write us an email. futromovies@gmail.com. And Cole, tell everyone where they can find you on social medias.
So, dudes, follow me on TikTok, Cooking with Coles, no G on the cooking, trying to keep it hip. At ColeDav8.
Is it called The Talk?
www.coledaviscreations.com for my advertising portfolio. Currently unemployed and seeking an agency. Thanks a lot.
Great plug. Do they call it The Talk? Is that
The
like hit me up on
Talk.
The Talk?
The
No,
Talk?
or is it The Talk?
No.
No one's saying The Talk. Yeah,
I don't
stop
think
trying to
anyone's
make the
saying
talk
The Talk.
happen. It's not going to happen. Stop trying to say it. Talk isn't going to happen. All right. Jordan, I don't think you have any social media presence, do you?
No, let's just say peace.
Yeah, okay. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Take care. Stay safe. Signing out. Peace.
Bye.